Legend squads in Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes. Now, we've had 4 Galactic Legends. I've been focusing on doing the top 10 squads in the game separate from Galactic Legends. Today, we're going to start doing these as 2 different videos. One video dedicated to discussing the Galactic Legends breakdown, and then the next video will break down all of the non-Galactic Legends squads in the game. Look, Capital Games is telling us that these are 2 different tiers of characters. One isn't going to be able to touch the other, so I guess we won't let one video touch the other. We're going to do these as 2 separate videos from here on out. And of course, I told you, we're doing a marathon of videos with my man, Gritted! What's going on, Gritted? It feels like we were just here.
It feels like it, but we're in different clothing, so we weren't.
We both changed. We're sitting down and doing 3 videos in a row, but we might as well at least change so that they think that we didn't do 3 videos in a row.
And then we told them. So.
Crap, you blew our cover. What's wrong with you, man? All right, so a couple quick disclaimers before we get into this list. When it comes to GLs and ranking squads in general, and especially some of these GLs, we want to be clear. We're not necessarily telling you this is exactly how you'd break out your GAC rosters. We're breaking down what we think are the best squads in the game, and there's a lot of nuance to that. There's a lot of options. There's not necessarily one best option for some of these, and so we put what we felt best about on this list for particular GLs, but we will discuss in the video of several other characters that we think can slot in to certain GLs, especially Sith Eternal and Rey, right?
Yeah, they're all over the place.
Literally all over. So, all right, let's show the first one then, and we have got JML showing up, and we had to squeeze Ki-Adi-Mundi in here. This guy just can't find a home. But the 3 that we are the most confident on that you're going to see in every single JML team are Luke, and Hermit Yoda. And obviously we see some variants where you've got Jedi Revan in the leadership. That's mainly an arena team. I don't see that nearly as much in Grand Arena. Gas slots in here a lot. Sometimes we're not going to use gas here because we're going to save gas for other teams. Ki-Adi-Mundi slots in here a lot if you've got him, but you might see him on other teams, or you might just see him not used at all because he's having a hard time finding a home. A lot of variants here as well, but our 5th ranked GL, he's not bad, but out of the GLs, I do think that JML is comfortably in last place.
Yeah, which is kind of funny because we used to rag on Rey a lot. JML's been a weird one. I'm going to fully admit that's my 3rd GL that I got.
Yeah.
She's been a weird one. You don't have the confidence going into some battles to do just a straight up solo, like you can with SLKR or C.
He's the worst soloing GL.
Absolutely. Worst soloing GL. And he's so strongly tied to JKL and Hoda that it sometimes can actually kind of mess up some things that I'm hoping to do. Because I used to use JKL for solos over there, strong underman teams, or maybe throw it in with JKR. He was kind of all over the place, but now it's like, well, I have to take JKL and Hoda along with me. It's just it's kind of weird. And if you don't have them, there's not a lot going on with the team. I think it's totally fair to put him in the 5th slot. And there's definitely that sort of variability. You could put in Old Ben, you could put in Shakti, you could put in just some leftover Jedi with, like, if you have Ayla from going for a JMK farm, or Plo Koon, or wherever it is, there's some flexibility.
Bastila is another option. A lot of people use
there's
a
really annoying to throw in there. You get that bonus health. There's variability on those last couple of tunes, but you need a decent amount of DPS in there because there's not a lot without, like, JKL. JML can hit pretty hard, obviously, that happens, but if you're going up against other GLs, it gets dicey. It definitely can get dicey without a strong DPS there. So I think a fair position for JML, put him in 5th.
And, I think another reason why I like him in the 5th spot is because out of all the GLs, he seems to be the most reliant on OP characters around him. You know what I mean? Like, all of the other GLs, like Sith Eternal, Rey, even JMK, especially SLKR, if you don't have the strongest supporting cast around them, that GL's still going to pull their weight. With JML, it just feels like he really loses viability if you don't have Luke and Hoda in there, or at least Gas. And I mean, those are expensive characters to bring in there, especially Luke and Gas.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. And it's I think it's fair to discuss at least now we know that some of the nerfs are coming for some of these characters. And changes for GLs and their interactions with characters. JML, I think even post nerf, I think JML can still be beat by Darth Revan. And so that's a factor that goes into it, that this is going to
Nerf.
be one of the few GLs that can still be beat by a non-GL team. So I think that's part of the conversation that can still go into it as well. If you put this guy in defense, could still be taken out by a non-GL team.
Darth Revan nerf inbound is what I just heard.
Crap, delete that. I didn't say that. I didn't say that.
No, I actually, okay, so with Relic 9, though, they specifically called out that they want to address tanks with Relic 9.
Yes.
And so now we're going to talk about another GL that terrifies me about, but JML could get a significant buff with the induction of Relic 9. So
if we do this video for either August or September, whenever they actually put those changes into effect and we see Relic 9, the list could definitely change with Relic 9 if they actually do boost those defensive stats and those the tank oriented stats. Yeah. JML could see a boost. Absolutely.
All right, let's talk about our next one. We have got the graphic doesn't seem to want to load. There's only 2 characters there, Grid. C and Watt. That's it. That's all we're putting there. Are you kidding me?
Yep. All right, moving on.
So Sith Eternal and Watt are a very, very incredible combo in Grand Arena. One of the cheapest combos you can use, and it can beat so many things. Now, a caveat to that will be if you're trying to use them against Rey, you've got a Relic 8 Rey with 12,000 offense. Be careful. I don't think that's gonna work. But if it's a Rey that's more like, 10,000 offense, you can take just 2 characters in and get the job done against a full GL team. Now, there's so many different options for Sith Eternal. We feel like most people in practical use are just using Sith Eternal Watt. Maybe they're throwing another tank. Maybe they're putting armor in there for some extra Beskar. So many different variables there. But by and large, in practical use, that's what people are doing. They're using Sith Eternal and Watt.
If you go to the swiggle.gg counters and you go up against, like, for example, Rey, like 90% of them are just C with Watt, and that's all you need. Dang. C by himself will solo pretty much every non-GL team out there. I think it can get a little dicey. Weirdly, he won't beat Grievous, which is kind of weird.
That's very weird. Yeah.
There's too much turn meter gain and not enough survivability. It gets weird. But that's pretty, like, maybe Darth Revan I think is still even fine, but like a C solo works against CLS, no problem. You'll get 63 banners. It's going to work against Padme. It works against Gas, a solo. We're not talking even with Watt. This is just straight up solo.
Yeah.
It's just there's so much survivability with him that it's never really a problem. And if you ever need any more additional survivability, for example, a GL, you throw in Watt. C with Watt is going to beat any JML team, pretty much going to beat any Rey team. And then if you need anything additional on top of that, you shouldn't. So it's kind of weird to put 3 extra tunes in there. I think that I would just say go with the cheap Sith. If you have Sidious just sitting around because obviously you went for C, you got Sidious, just throw him in there. Count Dooku can be kind of annoying with the counters and some of the stuns and ability blocks and all that good stuff. Sith Empire Trooper to have a tank can work for you. Triumvirate, if you're not using them somewhere, you could kind of toss them in there. But for the most part, you just shouldn't need anybody else. It's an interesting sort of predicament with C over there. C with Watt and you're good.
And I will admit, I would say when we consider these squads lists, we definitely think about Grand Arena pretty heavily on this list. And in practical use for Grand Arena, putting Sith Eternal on defense is pretty ill-advised. He's so valuable on offense, unless you're the kind of person that just puts all of your GLs in defense and says middle fingers, good luck. Most people are saving him for offense. And so if you did place him on defense, we could make a significant argument that maybe Sith Empire is going to be the best, strongest, most difficult team to beat with Sith Eternal. But then if we're looking at it from an offensive standpoint, what he does on offense, if you decide to take the strongest team in, maybe Sith Empire is that, but it's unnecessary. You don't need to do it. It's a waste, pretty much.
Huge waste.
Yeah, because it can beat pretty much anything in the game without them. And so I think that's why we have a hard time putting other Sith here with him, because it's so situational for that. And I hope you guys can hear my dog barking out there. I don't know what's going on, but I think she wants us to move on with our video. She says we're taking too long. So we're going to talk about the next team here. Here's Rey coming in at number 3. And I actually, Gridden, I'm going to make a prediction here. I think that with the buffs and with Relic 9, I do think Rey could jump up on this list to number 2. Because she is, when you get her modded up, when you get her to the Relic 8, she is terrible to go against on defense if you do not have the right team compositions.
Yes, I would agree, that's a weird thing. Again, we've kind of been making fun of Rey for a while, and a lot of people have, some people have regretted going for Rey. And I think one of the biggest factors into why we viewed Rey as kind of a lesser GL was she was so reliably and easily countered by non-GL teams, specifically Vader. That was like no problem. Like putting Rey on defense was almost sometimes just like a detriment,
right?
Because you're just giving her up for sometimes even 60 banners against those Vader teams. But now with the changes that are coming to the game, especially Relic 9, but also just these changes that they're making for some of those tunes, that Vader Thrawn counter is not going to work. And when you exclude that comp, you go into some of the GL counters, and then you look at C-Watt, and C-Watt will be Rey for 60, or 61, depending on kind of what happens there exactly. But C-Watt will also beat Rey really easily. But now, since Vader Thrawn won't work, you don't need to mess with your mods for Rey. You don't have to go for this kind of like tenacity, crit avoidance sort of comp to deter your opponent from using Vader. Go max offense. Get that 13,000 offense on your Rey, and then C-Watt will no longer work. And now your opponent is forced to either use SOKR, which is probably going to be like 47 banners, 48 banners, JML, which could be fine, but still has potential being like 56 or less banners if you lose some people in there. Obviously, a mirror match should, for the most part, be okay, or JMK. That should still be fine. But you're forcing your opponent into a corner. And depending on what Relic 9 brings, I think Rey is just going to be a monster on defense. And especially with some of these different team comps, we have team comps put up there, but she can be there. There's a lot of flexibility with her kit as well. One of the crazier, disgusting comps that I've seen was actually it was Rey lead with IG-11, Queel, and then L3 and Commander Tano. And Commander Tano brings in, obviously we have the insta kill, but that 50% health and that 50% offense on Rey. My good friend Hagrid, or Garlic Gang, if you guys have seen him around, he was able to get his Rey on her ultimate to hit for over 900,000. Nobody's surviving that. No one's surviving that.
I got my cat to hit for that, by the way.
Yeah, and then you have Cat who's going to do the same thing over on the side. So I think Rey's defense viability is about to go way up. That some people are not going to be used to, since we've been used to her being almost a joke for as long as she's been out.
Yeah. Very good points. And again, we are throwing up here. We've got the composition here that we're showing with JT or with Rey here. Let me move our cameras again. Not necessarily the best. I mean, there's so many different options. It's hard to pick one. So that's the team that I see this a lot. I think L3 makes this team really disgusting. JTR is a great one to put on defense too, because it can be really effective against Sith Eternal. Getting that heal block on him can really trip up that counter. And so many options, but by and large, Rey just carries this team. And that's a big reason why I like to rank her in the 3rd spot, because on her own, she just does so much. So now here's the big question. Is SOKR still going to be the number 1 GL in the game, or are we going to take Kenobi out of the picture? I'll tell you guys right now, SOKR is number 2. He is not number 1. And so we could show you the full list here with Kenobi showing up there in the number 1 spot. Now, tell me, Gridden, I've got several thoughts on this. This actually was not a hard decision for me. I think Kenobi is Oh, I mean, it is subjective, but I'm gonna say almost objectively the best team comp in this game with Kenobi, Cat, General Kenobi, and Ahsoka. And then we are making an argument, which we already made a video on this, but we are making an argument that it's C-3PO, not Gas, who is better in this team. Walk me through why this elevates over SOKR in your view.
I think one of the biggest factors is going to be the defense viability. SLKR is SLKR. When I look at Galactic Legends and I try and rank Galactic Legends, I'm seeing who's going to check the most amount of boxes.
Right.
You're looking at offense viability, defense viability, solo aspect, team aspect, banners, raids, PvP, PvE. There's a lot of aspects that go into it, as well as the farm. Like, what characters are you farming to get for those
Right.
characters as well? There's a lot of aspects that go into it. And the crazy thing is, JMK and SOKR pretty much check basically every box in the game. They're great on offense, both in a team and in solo viability. JMK gets a buff over SOKR because he has more banner recovery than SOKR does. And then SOKR, while he's great on defense, is now, in my personal opinion, dropping just slightly in defense viability because I think some of those non-GL counters are still going to work against him, like JKR, JKL, I think should still work. Same with like Rex, Barris, and the 501st should still work.
Yeah.
But JMK has no non-galactic counters that are going to work against him reliably. And any GL counter is dicey as fuck. Like,
watch your mouth.
I stopped it for you. YouTube man who's reviewing this.
This is a kid's channel. Just kidding, it's not. Don't believe me on that YouTube. Don't take my money.
And so I think, just all things considered, one of those biggest factors is there's no extremely safe, reliable, just like, I'm good, we're going to go beat JMK counter yet. You got to get weird with it. You're doing those Slicker Daka zombie things. You're doing CWAT armor and everything else, and those will still lose. There's still a high percentage that those teams are losing as well. So I think JMK just has to take it over SLKR for some of those factors. And then you get into PvP and PvE stuff. JMK is still going to be soloing the raids. He's still going to be doing all of that fun stuff that SLKR does. It's just that team is, even though he's still just a Galactic Legend, I feel like they have pushed the ceiling. They pushed the ceiling with JMK, and it's almost like I feel like JMK and Vader are going to be here, and then all the other Galactic Legends are just going to be right below them. I think they pushed the ceiling with JMK, and it's just so good. It's just such a good team. So
yeah. And another thing that I think is worth calling out as well is how JMK does on offense against all the other GLs.
Yes.
SOKR struggles against JML, struggles against him. JMK wrecks him, just absolutely takes him to lunch. SOKR can beat Ray, but it's dicey. I mean, if you're going up against a good Ray, it is dicey. And I don't know if you saw, but I had a Grand Arena where it got down to just Sith Eternal, SOKR and Ray. And Ray hit her ult, I hit my ult, but because I only had 84% charge and I have a really fast SOKR, I got 2 turns in a row. So I hit my ult and then I came right out of it, and then she obliterated me and I lost the match because my SOKR was too fast. Which, who told me that my SOKR should be fast, by the way?
I did.
Yeah.
I like fast
SOKR. I still
SOKR.
won the Grand Arena, so it was okay. But anyway,
You're welcome.
so there's that. Like, it's dicey, and if he does win, it's like 47 banners, whereas JMK, he's going to be able to get solid banners against Ray. In a lot of cases, if you play the match right, you're going to be able to get 56 to 60 banners against Ray. So I really don't think there is an argument. Like, I don't think there is an argument to put SOKR above JMK at this point. I don't.
No, JMK has taken over as the failsafe tune/team. Yeah. Anybody that you want to beat, JMK will beat it. Any team comp. Doesn't matter. And for good banners, safely, confidently, comfortably, no stretch.
Any team that you want, JMK will beat it. Any team that you want. Should we end the video? This is getting weird. Grin's like, why do I even make videos with this clown?
I gotta go. We're gonna do another video. I gotta go water my turtle. I'm gonna be busy.
Water your turtle? What? What is that? Is that a euphemism?
No.
I'm just gonna end this video. There's the list. Actually, here we go. Before I do that, there you go, guys. There's the full list. Take your screenshots. Do it quick. 3, 2, 1. Okay, done. Love you guys. Like the video.